Hello, hello, Saturnians. So today I am in the mood for another philosophical rant. If you haven't watched the first one, it is called My No Bullshit Approach to Magic, in which I talk about a few things that help you become a powerful witch, magician, wizard, sorcerer, or whatever you want to call yourself. So check the link in the description box down below. I do not mean to say that this is the only way of becoming a powerful occultist. I am no gatekeeper. I am just simply sharing my thoughts because I am sure some people out there will resonate. But if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments and we can discuss things further. I call this a philosophical rant because that's what it is. It is just me ranting about stuff. So, here are a few things that you need to know in order to become a powerful occultist. I am going to call occultist rather than witch, sorcerer, wizard, or magician because I think this is a broader term that encapsulates all the aforementioned. 1. Learn the art of concentration, focus, and endurance. You know, the part I love the most in the Ramayana, which is one of the epic texts of ancient India, is the part in which Ravan, the king of the Rakshasas, which is a class of demons, receives the visit of Lord Brahma, the supreme god. Ravan, the demon, had 10 heads and had spent thousands of years performing a very severe and intense penance as a devotee of Lord Brahma. Every 1,000 years, he would chop one of his heads off as an offering to Brahma. Finally, when he was about to chop his last head off as an offering, Brahma himself appears right before his eyes and says, "Hey, stop! After all these sacrifices, even you being this horrible demon, I have no choice here but to grant you whatever wish you may have. If I could not do this, then I wouldn't be the supreme god. So go ahead and tell me your wishes." And this is when the demon asked for immortality. And this wish is what sets the whole story of the Ramayana into motion. Later, Ravan is gonna be defeated by Rama, but it doesn't matter in my opinion. The demon is the real hero of Ramayana because let's not forget he was a demon and he made the supreme god grant him a wish even though he was supposedly an evil creature. Why is this relevant to us occultists? Well, because we are the Rakshasas here. We are the demons who want to have our wishes granted with magic. And what we can learn from Ravan the demon is the art of endurance and patience. It took him thousands of years to get the result of his practice, but when it did give results, not even God himself could prevent the demon from getting what he wanted. So this demon literally made God bow down to him. If that's not a powerful magician, I don't know who is. And y'all calling Ravan the villain, he's actually the goddamn hero of the Ramayana. So, next time your spell doesn't work within 5 minutes, think of Ravan. Understand something: magic is never random, never a coincidence, never an accident. Why do I never get surprised with the results of my spells? Well, because having them work is not a surprise, it is the norm. It is like if you planted corn, watered the soil, investigated the perfect conditions for corn to grow. It is not a surprise to get corn after a while, is it? Why do I see some people out there treating spell work as if it was a kind of lottery? If you're lucky, it works, but sometimes it just doesn't. Well, no. It always works, okay? If it doesn't work, you did something wrong, and we can usually pinpoint the reason why it went wrong. So it's not random. If I plant corn and corn doesn't grow, it is not an accident. I can usually tell what went wrong exactly and then fix it next time. If farmers thought about their products the same way you think about your spells, humanity would starve to death. So, the number one reason why your spells are not working is because you are too brain scattered and you lack focus and concentration. You're probably not following all the steps. Again, it took Ravan thousands of years to see the result of his spells. So you usually want your spells to work within 5 minutes. It's not going to happen, okay? Now, let me give you an example that I think we can all relate to. So it's Sunday, and you decide that you will deep clean your house. You need to do your laundry, put the trash out, and push the furniture, and clean under the beds, etc. So you start by picking up random stuff in the room. You put the dirty clothes in the washing machine, then you see this notification pop up on your phone saying that your favorite YouTuber just uploaded a video. So you say to yourself, okay, I'll watch this one and then I'll continue later. So you watch a video and it's a full flip through of this new tarot deck. So you watch it, you love it, you decide that you want to purchase the deck. But right before you buy it, you think to yourself that you're being impulsive. So you might as well watch other videos to figure out whether you really want that deck or not. And you end up watching 8 different reviews of the same deck before you decide anything about it. But by now it's lunchtime and you're hungry, so you order some food, and while you wait, you go on Amazon, and Amazon shows you some recommendations based on your recent purchases. So you go like, oh, I had never seen this deck before. Let me go and see if I can find a full flip through of this deck on YouTube. And then the whole process repeats itself again and again. And when you realize it, it's 7 p.m. and you haven't done anything of what you had planned to do that day. Carpets are still dirty, there's stuff everywhere, and you say, well, I'll do this tomorrow. And when you wake up in the morning, you realize you washed your clothes, but you never dried them. So they are stinking because they were left wet inside the washing machine, and you have to do it all over again. Does that sound relatable? Yeah, your spells are not working because you are too brain scattered and you don't want to go through all the steps to finish the process. You think having an intent is enough. Well, try to clean your house with intent only and see what happens. Magic has a cycle. You need to wash your clothes, wait until the washing machine does the job, then go back, get the clothes dried before you can actually wear the clothes. If you skip one of the steps, it ruins everything. So magic is the same. You have several steps, but the problem is many of you are too brain scattered and distracted to allow it to go full cycle. Midway through the process, you lose everything because you either forget about the next steps or you don't even know why you even started it. So learn how to focus, concentrate, and take all the steps until magic unfolds. Do not get distracted. Some spells will need months to unfold, but by the time it's almost happening, you distract yourself with something else, and the cycle is never completed. Okay? It's like clothes left wet in the washing machine. You can't actually wear them. And then you go around saying that, your spells never work. So focusing and having the patience to go through all the steps will be very rewarding. This is why before you become an occultist, you need to know how to put yourself in a meditative state in which your mind rests undisturbed by external noise, external circumstances. You have to become anxiety free. And everyone knows the very popular idea of being detached from the outcome of magic. But not everyone understands what this actually means. Being detached from the outcome means that you are so damn sure that everything will work out according to your plan that you don't worry about it. So the real reason why you're anxious about the outcome is because you're not sure. And the reason why you're not sure is because you didn't follow all the steps. So if you've done all the steps, there is no reason for it not to work. So the root of anxiety is really self-doubt. In order to eliminate anxiety, you have to eliminate self-doubt. In order to eliminate self-doubt, you have to develop focus and concentration to, go through all the steps. So what concentration and focus mean in the context of magic? It means the ability to start and finish a task. Observe a thought form from third person's perspective and decide whether you want those thoughts to bear fruits or not. It means being able to stop a negative thought before it unfolds. It means deliberately put a shape and a form to a thought in order to make it concrete and develop it into an external reality. I'll have a separate video about this, so stay tuned and subscribe if you haven't already. Right. Number 2, learn to be alone with yourself and enjoy your own company. Magic is a state of mind. Spellcraft starts inside of us before it becomes external, as I said before. And that means that we have to learn how to control our energy, our emotions, and our thoughts. That also means that we have to be able to close access to external interference. So it is common in our little community of occultists to meet the so-called empaths, right? While I agree there are some people out there who are really capable of attuning to other people's emotions and feelings, and I can name a few people I know who are really like that, I also find that the term has been so banalized that, in my very humble opinion, many people who call themselves empaths are not empaths at all. They just have no control over their boundaries. They don't know where their thoughts and emotions end and another person's thoughts and emotions start. They do not know how to separate what belongs to them and what belongs to others. They are brain scattered. And the worst thing is that the term has been romanticized, and people out there think that they're special for not having a clear separation between themselves and others. They think that they are psychics. They know what is going on with other people simply because they're feeling something, but more often than not, the opposite also happens. They are feeling what they're feeling, they have anxieties and fears, but they're trying to justify them by saying that they're just picking this up from the environment. No, you have to be responsible for your own thoughts, emotions, feelings, and energy, okay? It's like having the front door of your house open all the time in a crowded neighborhood. Anyone can enter. Now, how do you actually remedy that? By knowing when to close the door and knowing when to open it. A true empath opens the door for a while, only to allow a guest that they have invited to come in and have some coffee, have some fun. But as soon as the guest leaves, the door is locked. So it's not that the door is always open for random people to come in. So stop saying that this is a gift to be an empath. This is actually a weakness as an occultist. It takes power away from you. Now, there is a way of being an empath without being weak, okay? And when I say weak, I only mean that in the context of witchcraft and magic. All right, doesn't mean that the person is weak as a whole, but a weak magician, right? So there is a way of being an empath without being weak. And you have to train yourself to open and close the door when needed. You don't have to have the door open 24/7. Okay, this takes time, but it can be trained and it can be learned. And this is why you have to spend some time alone. You have to have a clear distinction between what is arising within yourself and what is coming from outside. Why is this relevant to occultists? Well, for a number of reasons, but mainly because your astral body responds to your thoughts and emotions, and how you manipulate your astral body determines the outcome of your magic. So, having no clear distinction between yourself and others means that other people have access to your astral body. You are prone to have your energy drained. You are prone to drain people's energies also, because this goes both ways. And this is when the astral form you project becomes corrupted. So, in order to avoid that, you need to separate yourself from the crowd. And this is merely an internal process, as I said before. It doesn't mean you have to physically isolate yourself from others, only psychologically. You need to retreat every now and then. And to be very honest, again, this is just my personal opinion. I can spot an occultist in a crowd by watching their behavior around other people, because they never, ever leak their energy accidentally or without that being part of the plan, okay? Do not overshare your life with others, and do not give access to people that easily. Now, if you do that well, even when you are in a crowded house with family, husband, wife, kids, dogs, even when you have to work with a lot of people, your astral body remains undisturbed. And this in itself is pure magic, guys, because this is so difficult to achieve, especially nowadays when we overshare, right? So let people see the results of your action, but never the entire process. You have to condition people around you to normalize your secretiveness. Because if you're always oversharing, if you're always telling people what you are doing, where you are, what your plans are, who you're talking to, if you're always doing that, when you don't do it anymore, people will find it weird. So I let everyone around me be comfortable with the idea that they're not gonna know what I am doing all the time. When my doors are shut or when I'm not communicating, they will not always know, and that's okay. I might be at home chilling, or I might be in Japan in a temple, or I might be backpacking in India, who knows? Not always people will know, and that's fine, right? And because I have done that for quite a few years now, when I disappear for a while, nobody finds it weird. People think that I'm just doing my thing, and that's it. And this is why I keep my astral body always fit for magic, okay? So yeah, in the future there will be more videos about that. But this takes me to the next point. And I think it's probably the most important here. 3, learn to become invisible. As a magician, you have to be able to blend in with the crowd, remain unnoticed. The more you don't appear to be a witch or a sorcerer, the more successful you will be in your magical endeavors. I wear my ceremonial clothes and my tools when I am in my own little castle, which is my home, or in company of fellow wizards, but when I go out in public, I make an effort to just simply disappear in the crowd. And why is that, you may wonder? Well, because Energy manipulation is more effective when no one is watching. And if I have random people staring at me or paying too much attention to me, then I cannot do what I have to do. When I see people walking around trying too hard to look like gods and goddesses of darkness, the first thing that comes to mind is that this is probably about aesthetics. And that is fine, because people are free to wear whatever they want. But if they actually were into the craft, they would avoid that, because sometimes we need to become invisible, and I have so much to say about that. This probably deserves its own video, but with practice we can learn to shrink or expand energy. When we shrink energy, it is hard to notice our presence. We can sneak into places. We can leave and enter a room without being noticed. This can be a very useful technique when you need to get out. But of course, this can also be used for evil purposes. When a child is kidnapped in plain sight during the day without nobody noticing. And when you look at the security cameras, you can see the whole thing, but nobody can understand how this stranger took a child in front of 100 people that were walking by. Well, unfortunately, some people have accidentally mastered this craft. On the other hand, when we expand energy, we become noticed. We can communicate with others by projecting our energy into their personal field. And here is an exercise for you. Pick a random stranger in the street, somebody who's not looking at you, somebody who is maybe across the street from you. Stare straight at the back of their necks for a few seconds with a single mind, pulling energy from your third eye chakra and projecting the energy into their necks, and watch as they will suddenly turn their back and look straight at you. Or maybe you could be in the first or second floor of a building looking at the streets from the window. You could pick a person and stare straight at the top of their heads for a few seconds with a single mind, in which you create an energetic bridge between you, and watch as this person will look up as if searching for someone who might be watching them, because you have stepped into their personal fields. So even if you're not physically communicating, you establish a link between you. And that sensation of somebody watching you. You have felt that. We have all felt that. And maybe there is somebody watching you, but it doesn't have to be somebody who is physically there. They could be watching you from another country, for instance. You can either cut this communication or use it in your favor, but you can see how this is useful, right? When you want somebody to come and talk to you, when you want someone to communicate with you, when you need to be noticed for whatever reason, when you need somebody to think of you, maybe you want a certain job position. I don't know, there are several situations in which you can use that technique. However, you cannot do any of this unless you have blended in and disappeared in the crowd. And this also explains why I mentioned number 1 and number 2. It requires focus and concentration. It requires you to have control over your energy. And now you know why I loved wearing a hijab and even a niqab when I visited Muslim countries. I am very comfortable never showing my face or covering from head to toe, especially in a place where everyone else also does that, because this is the best way to blend in, right? So, your super witchy aesthetics is awesome, but well, now that's just me ranting, guys. Wearing black lipstick doesn't make you a witch, okay? But also, do not underestimate occultists who look like the boy or the girl next door. These are the ones who are probably really developing the craft. I mean, I could be right behind you now, staring at the back of your neck, and you would never know it's me. So give thumbs up to this video if you turned your head to check. Alright, see you next time. Bye bye.